Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. If you're new, then hi, my name is Caitlin, welcome. And today I am going to be doing a little bit of a spin-off of a video that I filmed a few weeks ago. It was the least used palettes that I have used this year so far. So obviously we're about halfway through the year now, a little bit over, and it's interesting to have a look at what eyeshadow palettes have had some love versus what really haven't. So you guys really seem to like the least used palettes video, so I thought I'd do it the other way around. What are my most used palettes so far this year? So I'm planning on doing another kind of two-part series in December, doing the same thing, but obviously accounting for the next 6 months as well. So it'd be interesting to see if they're the same, if they're not the same, if something is being dethroned dramatically. Who knows? Who knows? I just thought it would be kind of interesting to see. So here I have 6 of my most used palettes so far this year. Some of them surprised me, some of them really didn't. So let me know in the comments your thoughts and opinions on these. But just before we do jump into the video, if you have not already, definitely like and subscribe because it would mean the world to me. I do a lot of project pans, shop my stashes and get ready with me's with bright fun colourful makeup. Today I am using my Orangey Glad palette from Colourpop, which is currently in my No Pan Left Behind project. That would have gone live sometime this week. I'm not too sure about the scheduling, but it will have gone live very, very soon. So let's jump into it, and I'm going to start with the most obvious. We all know that the Modern Renaissance palette is my most used palette this year. So I'm not going to open it up because my Pan That Palette update actually went live on the 3rd. If you are interested in seeing amazing progress in this guy, definitely go and check that out. I will link it in the cards if you missed my Pan That Palette update. But this is a palette I'm trying to finish or kind of get as close to finishing as I possibly can this year. So I have used this a hell of a lot. In fact, I have used this over 130 times, 132 times this year. That is a lot. That is so much use. And yeah, I'm very, very happy. We've finished 2 shades so far. We've hit pan on pretty much all of the shades. So we're trudging along. We're trying to completely finish this up. This is going to be, without a doubt, my most used palette this year, just because I'm really trying to get as much love as I possibly can on this before the year is out. This is my baby for the year. This is my firstborn child for the year. I am proper going in hard on this. I'm trying to use at least 1 shade every day just to get it finished. I know I'm probably not going to get it finished, but I'm going to try my damn hardest. And yeah, you can see it's banged up, it's bruised, and it is 100% my most used palette this year. But that was not a surprise. I'm not gonna like harper on about that one too much because all of you are like, yeah, we know that's your most used palette this year. It's not a shock. So next, with 12 uses, so a little bit of a jump here, from 132 to 12 uses, is my Beauty Bay Book of Magic palette. I adore this palette. And I have said before, I am thinking about having this as a Pan That palette next year. We'll see, we'll see. Obviously, we're not close to the end of the year at all. I don't know, I can't help thinking. I adore this palette. So this year, Sorcery, this shade up here, was in a Pan Those Eyeshadows series. So obviously a lot of uses did come from that. A lot of use does come from my projects. So these aren't necessarily my favorite palettes. They're just ones that maybe have been rolled into projects, maybe have been getting extra love from me so far this year. But the mattes in this palette, I genuinely love. I adore them. The shimmers, not so much, but I just love this palette so much. I did hit pan in Sorcery, as I said, in my Pan Those Eyeshadows, but even beyond that, I have been playing for this palette. Normally, this shade Cursed, as you can see, has a massive pan in it. I do play around with the blues and the teals a lot. The purples, maybe not so much on my own without a panning prompt, but I just adore this palette so much. The mattes never let me down. They are the perfect blending out shades for each other. I adore it so much, and I really want to get even more use out of this. I want to hit more pans. This is one of those palettes that like I want to have pan in every shade. Like I'm itching to hit pan in every shade in here because it would just make me so happy. And that's when you know you really love a palette. Next, coming in at 9 uses. And this again is one of those that I don't necessarily love, but it's just been kind of luck of the draw. This is my Colourpop Baroque palette. So again, I'm not gonna open this because this video is actually going live before my Project Level Up project. I have actually already filmed that project, so it's very, very exciting. Stick around. But this is rolled into my Project Level Up project pan, and it is my level 2 palette, which means I have to use every single shade at least 2 times and hit 2 pans. So as you can imagine, it takes a lot of use to do that, and especially with a palette like this, it's not my like favorite color story. It's very grungy, it's very grey, it's very winter kind of time, so the fact that it's been rolled in the dead of summer is so annoying. But I have got 9 uses on this so far this year because of that project. Without that project, I 100% would never have reached for this, probably even once this year. So that's what I love about project panning. It can really get you out your comfort zone, and it can really show you, you know, the potential of some palettes. Maybe I've fallen in love with this. Maybe I still hate it. Who knows? Stick around for my Project Level Up project pan. That is coming live on Monday, so you do not want to miss that. So yeah, this is coming in at 9 uses. Next is coming in at 7 uses, and this is my High Tide palette. I adore this palette so much. Look at this. Look at this. I'm pretty sure this was rolled into a project 10 uses. So maybe I've just not counted a few uses. It's so pretty. It's so pretty. I think I have a way of counting that like maybe if I use like one shade, I don't count it as a palette use because I'm just using one shade. I honestly don't know. These numbers are not going to be 100% accurate, okay? It's a lot of work to track over 40 palette uses. It's a lot. So I've used this around like 7 to 10 times. I adore it. I think it's the perfect palette for summer, for winter, for spring, for maybe not for fall, but yeah, these 2 like muted shades for fall. We can do it. It's a year-round palette. I adore it. It is so beautiful. These are my shades. These are the shades that I would wear every single day if I could. I just think they're so beautiful. You can see there are dips in a lot of these shades now. When I first rolled it in at the start of this year, it really didn't have that many dips in it. It was looking pretty much brand new, but throughout that project, I've really been able to give it some love. It looks loved, it looks used, and that's what I love. I know a lot of people don't like used looking makeup, but honestly, batter my palettes and I'll be happy. I love used and abused makeup. So the fact that these have like slight dips in them, obviously they're Colourpop mattes, most of them, they're really hard to hit pan in, trust me. But I absolutely love it. I would love to have a pan in this palette sometime. Maybe I'll roll it into a Pan Those Eyeshadows project sometime, but I just think this palette's beautiful. I really do. Apart from this shade, Muscle Beach, I don't like that. Everything else, gorgeous. Love it. So 7 uses. This is my Carnival XL Pro, and it's going to wash me out so bad. This is, again, one of those palettes that I would love to hit pan in every shade, but there's 40 of them, so you know, it's going to be a project. A part of me has thought about maybe doing a Pan That Palette in order with this, or maybe like a Pan That Palette roulette with this. Like, let me know. I am slowly starting to roll a lot of eyeshadows out of project pans, and I'm meaning more like broad scale projects. So like Fantasy and I don't know, deck of panning, things like that. I am slowly starting to work eyeshadows out of those projects just because I am wanting to work on my Pan That palette a lot more. But who knows, maybe next year. I've been thinking about maybe adding in like a second Pan That eyeshadow palette project. Like I said, maybe a Pan That palette in order, or a Pan That palette roulette, or like a BYOP Pan That palette. Something along those lines, maybe. I'm not sure. Obviously, we've got like ages to think about that. But this is something I really want to use a lot more. Maybe I could have like this as a focus palette in my Pan Those Eyeshadows project. I can have like a shade from this all the time in that project. Who knows? It is getting a little bit older, unfortunately, but I would just love to get more use out of this. It is such a beautiful palette. It is a dream palette for like a creative day. If I don't really know what eyeshadow look I want to go for, I will pull this out and I will just figure out a beautiful look. I adore it. Last year, this was a palette that I would not shut up about. And I'm sure a few of you guys were getting so annoyed with me for not shutting up about this palette all the time. But I just love it. I think it's beautiful. I still love it. Even though it's an OAP at this point, I do love it. And so the last palette is a little bit of an oddball, to be honest. It's a little bit of a weird one. So this palette has been used 5 times by me, and it's my Natasha Denona Mini Star palette. So I did actually do a bit of a project where I frankened this. I really did not like the original Mini Star palette, but I did actually replace the blue shade and I replaced this gold shade at the end as well. So this is Beetle from the Pastel Roses. It is the most shimmery, sparkly, beautiful blue to brown duochrome. The original duochrome in this palette was like a thick, kind of murky brown with like the slightest hint of blue if you got the lighting right. This is wham pam blue, shimmery, sparkly beautifulness with a hint of like purpley brown. It is beautiful. And the reason why I decided to franken this is because I had a little bit of an accident in my makeup bag one day and this shade just got a little bit ruined. A toner literally went all over this shade and made it useless. So this is just a gold from my Sofx Revolution palette, and I just like this palette so much better now. I really, really do. This again is one of those that it's like, should I have this as a pan matte palette? Like, I'm not sure. It's obviously a lot smaller than my Modern Renaissance, but I just don't know. This is the thing. I want to finish all of my palettes all at once. I want to have pan in everything right now, so I just can't figure out what I want to pan, because I want to pan everything and it's an issue. So yeah, they were my most used palettes so far this year. Obviously my Modern Renaissance is probably going to stay at number 1 unless something miraculous happens, which I really don't think it will. But do you think these palettes are going to stay on top? What palettes do you think are going to be dethroned by the end of the year? Are you excited to see the results at the end of the year? You know, I kind of am. I don't know, it's almost like betting on a sport, isn't it? Like, what eyeshadow palette is going to be used? Has my collar been inside out this whole time? Professional. Oh well, if it has, then it was meant to be. I'm actually really excited, to see if I can get love on everything. These videos really let me know what palettes in my collection have already had the love that they kind of deserve, and which palettes really have been neglected and which palettes I really need to focus on. So we'll see. We'll see if the tides turn. Let me know in the comments down below, what is your most used palette this year? And if you're having a pan matte palette, obviously that's going to be your most used. So let me know your pan matte palette and then what's in second place as well, because I'm very nosy and I always love to know all about your project pans as well. So this is where I'm going to love you and leave you guys. If you did enjoy this video, definitely like and subscribe because it would mean the world to me. I hope you have an absolutely incredible day and I will see you tomorrow for a new video. Bye!